Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Caffeinated Librarians. Today, there's been a murder, and it's of Jorgensen, or Jorgensen's the killer. Anyway, we're discussing the Thin Man. Does someone else want to do this intro? Simona, go ahead. Just start from the top.
Okay.
I was trying to be funny, and it's coming out very weird.
That's perfectly okay. All right. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode of the Caffeinated Librarians.
Natural.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I'm such I was like, what did I do?
God, why would I say that?
I'm sorry. That'll be bleeped out. Yeah, so... Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Caffeinated Librarians. So, we are starting off our classic series with a film called The Thin Man, which was originally a 1934 novel before it was adapted into a film.
Same year, because they made these things quick.
Mm-hmm. So this is Katie's pick. It's a very good pick. This was my first time watching it, and I really enjoyed it. And I think the rest of us really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah. My only question.
Sure.
Who's the Thin Man?
The Thin Man is the scientist.
Yeah.
Wynant.
What?
Wynant?
Yeah.
He's
But
the Thin Man.
The sequels kind of forgot about that, and they just kept calling it the Thin Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's what I was. So that's what I was like. Is the Thin Man the detective?
Because Nick's not like especially thin. He's just like a normal looking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the title in reference to something else? I mean, like
No, the Thin Man
Just because he's thin. That's it.
Well, yeah.
Or does it have a connotation like the Thin Man is the one?
No, he's just
No, he's just
I don't think it's that.
because
deep.
if you notice
like
the
a
character.
Grease Man, Grease Man isn't a Grease Man the one that like kills people?
No, that was Iceman.
Iceman.
No, the thin. Well, if you notice the character is
He's just-
really
Oh, okay. Now I
He's
understand.
just
Okay.
a thin old guy.
thin. Yeah.
Oh, it's in okay. Now I understand. It's in reference to when Charles is describing Wynant as a quote thin man with white hair.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So,
it's
not
I was telling my mother
Oh
that we were
boy.
watching this,
Uh huh.
Okay.
and she was like, "Well, I saw that," and I was like, "Oh, did you see it in theaters?" And she was like, "No, I didn't see it in theaters." And I said, "Did you take a horse and buggy to the theater to see it?" And then she was like, "Haha, you're very funny." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you probably saw the play, like the live." Just constant ribbing.
And she still feeds you?
She does.
That's love. That is love. No, it was a really great film. I loved all of the characters. Specifically, I loved Nick and Nora.
Wait. You loved all of the characters? You loved the glasses guy?
Glasses guy is so funny. He's like,
You mean-
Can I see the dead body?
Dorothy's-
I love dead bodies.
It's Dorothy's brother.
Had you allowed me to continue, I would have clarified. But as you love nitpicking every word that comes out of my mouth, you don't give me the time to clarify. So as I was saying,
That's the fun. Yeah.
I enjoyed each of the characters because they're just so quirky. Like, I love the brother character. The whole scene when the detectives are questioning his mother and he's just staring at it as if like there's a riddle that he can decipher at any moment, and how one of the cops keeps on looking at him and then talking and then looking at him. It's so funny, but it's not like a hammy. Like, it's not overdone, so to speak, and that's what I really loved. And going back to Nick and Nora, I loved their dynamic. I love how they are truly, as Joe mentioned when we were talking about it earlier, like a marriage of equals. They're equal partners. Nick values Nora's input just as much as Nora values his. And I just love the way they rib at one another and they can take it. Like, they're just, like, throwing it at. It's like...
Yeah. They also seem to genuinely like each other.
Yeah.
Which is nice,
Yeah,
right?
sometimes that can be a little bit of a rarity in like 30s films.
Yeah, and I remember reading that one of the reasons why people liked their marriage was because it proved that romance and passion didn't die when you got married. Like, you could still be just as passionate and romantic. And one of my favorite scenes I have two, it's the Christmas morning episode where like Nora's just staring at him on the couch and she's not saying anything. It's a long moment of like silence where she's just watching him shoot off his BB gun or whatever it is, and he's doing all these poses, and you can tell he's drunk out of his mind. He's just like, I loved that moment.
Also, they had to be legit drunk on set, right? At least he was, because the way he was giving those lines, that guy was.
It's almost like he was acting drunk too well.
It's authentic. It's authentic performance.
Yeah. He's a method actor.
And the other one is when they're getting ready to go back to bed, and there's like the bell rings, and it's that criminal who comes up with the gun. And Nick is all calm, but when he realizes he's about to fire, he like backhands Nora off the bed. Yeah, and I was like, as I was watching, I was like, while it's funny, you couldn't have just like shoved her or like told her duck or something. I do
like in that scene when he's just like, you know, my wife's cool with it, but me, I'm a bit of a wimp. So could you put it away?
They were very calm. I like how like abnormally calm they were. Like there was a guy with a gun in their bedroom, but the whole when he knocks her out, she was like, "You had to know." He does. You were in the line of fire, but it's just like he doesn't even wait. He just like bam, backhands her and throws the pillow.
Saved her life.
Well, and if he said duck, he would have tipped off the guy with the gun that he was going to do something.
I still don't think he had to knock her out. I think like a nice shove would have worked too. Like just shove her off.
I also like the Christmas morning stuff. And the Christmas morning stuff, he's like the first thing he does is like pour himself a drink. Mm-hmm. Which
they're both raging alcoholics.
Like, this is hilarious. And then he, she's got a new fur coat, and he's like, "Oh, is that a Christmas gift?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Is that for me too?" And she's like, "Yep." I was like, I've been in relationships like that, but it's fun.
Were you drunk? Remember the gifts you've given?
No, I got the sense that she bought them for herself with his money.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's the reverse though, because she's coming from money and he's not. So he married.
What a life they lead. They don't do anything. They just hang around and drink.
Just drink all day.
That's like
a drinking game where you keep up with them. You should do it and all die.
Yeah. We would be wasted. We'd be wasted after that first scene when she's like, "How many have you had?" And he's like, "Oh, this is about 6." And then she's like, "I'll have 5 more lined up right here."
Oh,
and then
yeah.
The next morning, she's got the cold compress on her head.
I love his intro doing like, "And you always shake a Manhattan to a foxtrot."
I liked her introduction because when I first saw Nora, I thought it was going to go a little differently. Like, I didn't expect them to have that kind of... I kind of thought, like, she would be the annoying wife. Like, oh, my God, I have to deal with her.
She loves it.
Yeah.
I know, but it's just... It kind of went differently than what I was expecting. Because the way they introduce her character, you don't think she's going to be the level-headed person that she is. Yeah. I really... Yeah, and did you guys kind of suspect who the actual murderer was?
Well, when I first saw the movie, because I've seen this movie many times, because it is my favorite classic movie, I had no idea. Yeah. None whatsoever.
Yeah. I also don't know that there's a lot of clues throughout it that really give it away.
I feel like most of it is sort of just enjoying the vibe. Yeah. Like I don't think the film's too concerned with the mystery.
Yeah, yeah.
Which honestly I was surprised by, because I always heard it as like, oh, it's a great mystery movie, and it's funny too. But like, no, this is just a screwball comedy.
Yeah, yeah. Like when Nick and the detective are looking for stuff, and then the wife is there, and they get in the cab, and then later on she calls him, and he was like, "Oh, how's Grant's tomb?" And she's like, "Good, I ordered you a replica." Just good ribbing between the two of them.
This was shot by Jimmy Wong Howe. That makes sense.
Oh yeah.
He was a major cinematographer in this era of Hollywood. He did a lot of like noirs. He sort of created like that very like stylistic heavy shadow style. And,
cool.
In the opening scene, I was like, "Whoa, this is beautiful."
Yeah.
Did anyone else like not feel that bad when you found out that Wyatt was dead? Because he wasn't a very nice person. Like the whole intro scene where it's him just, at first I couldn't figure out what he was doing, but he's just like staring at a part that he's made. Mm-hmm. So absorbed. The poor guy is trying to get his attention, and Billy Jones is like, "You're fired." And then it was like, so I was like, I didn't feel too bad.
I think he's meant to come across as being an ornery, grouchy old man.
Yeah.
Because you have all of these people that have some, like, some, at one point or another, have some reason to want him dead.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, I wasn't that broken up about the fact that he had been killed, but it's like, oh, well, this makes sense as to why we have all of these suspects.
And was he in a relationship with his secretary?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. At first, I wasn't sure. I was like, "Oh, he's hit with his secretary." Very cliche.
Oh, that was the first thing I said to myself when he's like asking his daughter if it's okay if he comes to the wedding or if it's gonna be like weird because of the stepmother and stuff like that, and I'm just like, wow, progressive.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Well,
1930s, did you really see divorce in movies and stuff like that? Probably not.
Pre-code, baby.
Yeah.
They could do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting too. I mean, the way they did certain things, like even because like once the code happened, you couldn't even hint that married couples had sex. It was like pregnancies were like these mysterious things that just happened, sort of a deal. But yeah, it was very like even the whole ending when like the newlyweds like I thought they would never leave. You see them embrace passionately, and then when they're in their bunker, she says, "I thought you would never leave." She goes, "You can put like his name was
Asta
up with me." He goes, "Nope," and he just tosses the poor dog, and he goes and the dog just goes like. Which can we shout out to Asta?
Yeah, the dog was great
for his brilliant acting.
The real dog's name is Skippy.
Yes,
and he was also in Bringing Up Baby.
Oh.
I've never seen that movie, but now I kind of want to.
And is he an Airedale or is he a long-haired Jack
He's a
Russell
Wire Fox Terrier?
Wire Fox Terrier.
I was kind of curious, like with dogs on sets, because throughout the film he's being called by a different name. That doesn't confuse the dog. I know this is not important.
They're trained for it.
Oh, okay, all right. Because I was just curious about that, like how they respond, because like they have their actual name, then they have like their acting or their character names. But I don't know, that just came into my head as I was watching this film. But
it's a good question to have. Your question just made me wonder. Oh,
and he wouldn't have found Winant without Asta.
Yeah. No, he definitely did a good job. Like that dog was adorable. Do you think the dog was really scared maybe he was used to the gunshot. I was just like looking at certain scenes. Like I felt so bad when the gun and he hides under the bed. It's like, oh, it's like,
it makes you feel better. The gun probably did not make a sound on set.
Yeah, it makes me feel better because
he would have been told to do certain things as well by the trainer.
I just also because I know there were some directors, like the director of The Exorcist, would fire off shotguns to get fear responses from his cast member. I was gonna say his victims, his cast members, like at random moments to get that genuine.
Really? If Friedkin runs a dangerous set, he kind of gets away with it because no one ever died, but like
to get like
French Connection to him, like. They just legit drove through New York at high speeds on that. Like it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, so because like I was wondering like what the set conditions would have been like because like that's what the director was doing. He would fire off the shotgun, so like when the actors jumped, he was getting that genuine response.
The director of this was W.S. Van Dyke, who was known for shooting fast. He was known as One Take Woody.
Nice.
Yeah, so I imagine
the actors like that.
Yeah, I imagine it was kind of a pleasant atmosphere.
Yeah.
Usually, those one-take guys are just nobody has issues with them.
Yeah, and the acting also seemed very natural. That's one thing I also appreciated about this film. It didn't seem that over the top or like the way they behaved with one another. You could tell that. I mean, I don't know if the actress who plays Nora was really comfortable with Nick or the actor who plays Nick or whatever, but
the actor who played Nick is William Powell, and Nora is Myrna Loy.
Yeah.
And I've seen William Powell in other movies from like the 1940s. I believe one of my other favorite movies that he's in is called Father Knows Best. And he definitely comes across as being somebody who's very comfortable in front of a camera and acting with other people. I don't know how long of a career he's had leading up to The Thin Man, since it is like a 1934 movie.
So this was they were kind of cast against type here, both of them. The studio considered him too old to be Nick.
Interesting.
And like too straight-laced seeming.
Yeah.
And Myrna Loy had sort of like been like cast into like a sex symbol role.
Oh, okay.
Early on, but like so, and like Nora is obviously a very attractive woman, but
Yes.
she's not like a femme fatale. Or
I loved the outfits. Like, at first I was always ambivalent about 1930s fashion, but looking at this movie, I wanted those dressing gowns, like with the long sleeves. Like, that looks nice. Like, I wanted those clothes.
I also like the guys are always in suits.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how things should be. Like, let's go back to suits, people.
No, there were
you
definitely.
say that, but then you wear one and you're just sweating.
It's true. That's a good point.
No, but I do.
I have one of those hats, like the hats that go with suits.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I should have worn it today
Yeah.
with a
But
suit.
it does, like, when you see, like, footage of people, like, if you ever watch those restored footages of, like, filming in New York City or San Francisco, and you see the way people dressed, there was something, like, they were very well put together. You see some people that are coming out with, like, looks like they just rolled out of the bed, and, like, they're just walking out, whatever, which I know I like, but I definitely, watching this, I loved the fashion. I don't know, I love the elegance of the film. And I also love the, he's not the gangster character, but he's like the snitch character that has the scar on his face. Like his,
Yunheim?
yeah, like his wife who like can't, or significant other, whoever she is to him.
His girl.
She
Mimi.
throws the pot at him and
Hey,
like,
did you see how far off the throw was?
Oh yeah, she chucked it.
But it wasn't even close to him. I was like, wow, that was a really bad
she wasn't
throw.
aiming to kill. She was just aiming to say, you want to knock my teeth out?
I'm going to throw
I'll
a pot
brain you.
45 feet away from me.
I'll brain you with a frying pot or something. But can we talk about the detective? Like, no, the cop, the one who's like super aggressive when he's interviewing people. Like everyone's a suspect that he's just.
Great character.
But I love how it's like close evidence. Like, okay, this proves it. Basically, he's not willing to like.
He just wanted the case to be over.
I know.
He
yeah.
was like, yeah, this got to be it, right? He's got to be the murderer now, right?
Yeah.
He's just like looking to Nick for like
Early
reassurance.
Hollywood movies hate the police. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing. Because I noticed it too, where it's like the cops just seem they're really incompetent. It's like. I mean,
Well, there was mass corruption within the New York City Police Department
That's
around in that time.
That's not
anyway.
surprising.
So
Yeah, but it's like you think back to like modern like cases that were just like butchered because like tramping over a crime scene. This was so like you can almost imagine at that point, and this was way before like DNA, right? Like
yes.
before,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, DNA didn't come into play until the 90s.
But I like how you could see how what was that?
That's
The
why it's so hard to get away with things nowadays.
Well,
Criminals have it tough.
I do want to say my
guess.
favorite scene in The Thin Man is when they have the New Year's Eve party and every guest is somebody that that Nick Charles had sent up to Sing Sing, but it's like there's no hard feelings whatsoever.
is that because they knew they deserved to be there?
Probably.
Yeah.
He's
So.
just a charming guy. What
Yeah.
do you
He
do?
is, but I love Nora. She's like, just invite more people up here. Like, just how calm she is. Like, when I was watching that scene, the introvert in me was like, there are too many people in that small space. It's getting crowded. But I love the scene when he and Wynett's ex-wife are in the bathroom, and the guy goes, ooh, I'm so sorry. He goes, no, we're just talking. But, like, how unfazed he is that he could potentially ruin their. I mean, I don't know how much that people that care about reputation, but just somebody goes like, the guy thinks he's interrupting something scandalous. He goes, we're just chatting here, and they just resume as if nothing has happened. Yeah.
And even like when Dorothy's hugging him in
Yeah.
the bedroom and everything like that,
Yeah.
and Nora walks in, like there wasn't any like, oh my God, what are you doing? It was
Yeah.
just like, are you okay, dear? Do you need a drink?
Yeah. That's their
Well, I
solution to everything.
I mean, Nora definitely knows what's going on, is definitely, I think, self-aware and very secure with what's going on, so she kind of like just rolls with it.
Oh yeah. Like I really liked
Yeah.
when she walked in on like that girl hugging Nick in the spare bedroom or whatever, and the girl apologized. She was like, "Oh, don't be silly." Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I
she's
think,
good.
but I think that also proves that there's genuine love and respect in the relationship.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
think if she had any doubt about like what he's doing, she Nora strikes me as that she would let you know.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah,
like
she
such a-
assessed the situation. She was
Yeah.
like, "It's
Yeah.
fine."
Yeah.
That's like such a that they did that so brilliant. That's like such a show me they have a good relationship. Don't tell me they have. A good
Yeah.
relationship.
That's what
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
to. I think
Yeah.
you learn a lot about the characters without having, like you said, to be told. Like,
Yeah.
it's in the
There's
way they
no
talk.
There's no exposition.
Yeah, like
So-
in the way they behave. That's what's brilliant.
So, good news. William Powell and Myrna Loy apparently loved working together. They
Oh.
had a great time
Well,
on
I mean,
set.
that,
Wonderful.
that like just comes across on screen
Yeah.
anyway.
And apparently the director just caught on immediately. He was like, oh, no, these two are really good. They can riff together. And he let them improv. And
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Though
Oh.
Skippy bit her at one point. So,
Skippy.
bad dog.
Oh,
happened, Skip?
no.
Oh.
And apparently the worst thing on set was at the dinner party because they had to eat oysters, but the oysters had been under the set lights for like all day.
Oh no! But that's like my. I mean, but that whole scenario
I love oysters.
is. They have to be cooked for me to enjoy them.
I
Anyway,
You don't like
Raw.
raw oysters?
no.
Oh, Katie.
No.
You haven't had good raw oysters then. Let's take a ride.
I've never had raw oysters.
Let's
Just the
take a
entire-
ride up to Newport.
I know that
Have some good raw oysters.
the texture that's gonna throw me all off. I'm
you
not
just-
gonna enjoy it. I'm not.
Yeah,
gonna
you
enjoy
don't
it.
even chew. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
swallow.
Nope. Still nope. The entire
That's
process.
the noise you make too.
I have a question.
Sure.
Have you seen any of the sequels?
Yes.
Now,
I've
most of
seen it.
those are post code. Do they still drink as much? in
Yes.
those? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
even drinking would have been.
And not normally, like, their characters are allowed to drink, but these two drink a lot. So I was just wondering
So,
if,
I
like,
mean,
they made
the-
them
the-
taper it off.
They
a little.
did taper off the amount of alcohol from the first movie, but they do certainly still
still
drink.
Good. Okay.
But
I'm glad.
and also with the later movies, you can still tell that their relationship is the same from the first movie.
All right.
Well,
Yeah, there's really no change in that.
When was this code instituted?
Hays Code started 36, I want to say. I'm going to
Is
look
it-
it up to make sure.
When did it end?
So it started. So it began being rigidly enforced in 34, actually, and it didn't really like end formally, but like by the late 60s, things just started not caring about it,
Oh.
yeah.
and like then the MPAA happened,
Oh.
and
okay.
like that. Hollywood decided, all right, this is the new way we're going to regulate it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think really the big moment that killed it was MASH, because
Oh, yeah.
they say the F word in that. And that was,
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they do, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, they say it a lot
Yeah.
in that movie.
Yeah, because you had to. I remember reading about it because one of the reasons that made me like not investigate, but want to learn more about the code was why they could never depict pregnancy in a film. Like, for the life of me, I was like, okay, is it because it hints that couples are having sex? I mean, if you're a married couple, isn't that what you want? You want them to have sex, to procreate. Like, why can't they, like, the woman, like, is carrying a basket, or, like, you only know she's pregnant after she's given birth, but they will never show the birth. And the reason why, it was the funniest reason.
It's the patriarchy.
No, well, it was because they believed that if women knew the realities of pregnancy and delivery, no woman would ever want to have a child again.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
so stupid.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I was always curious, like, why don't you see it? Why don't you see, like, and that was one of the
I
reasons.
gotta tell you, when I watched Cheaper by the Dozen, I said to myself, man, I don't know that I want to have kids.
That's a lot.
So,
But
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I don't know. I find that stuff fascinating
Yeah.
because like you look at the movies from right before and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
they were onto such cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
When I watched Metropolis, which I only watched it once because I don't have the brain for that kind of film, and it was too long. But when I watched it, I was like, my God, there's nudity. There's like this crazy scene of men lusting after the fake. I forgot what the woman in the film is called, but she's like the fake one who
yeah.
who assumes her identity to lure people into vice and destruction.
Nice.
But it's the whole scene where like she's dancing and then like this. It's really funny.
a woman after my own heart.
Yeah, but I was shocked at the nudity. I was like, there was nudity? Because I was like not used to nudity in like classic films. So when I saw it, I was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, That's Europe. Did Europe have a code as well in
No.
their film?
No.
See, I kind of figured
That
that.
was very much a Hollywood thing.
Because
yeah.
in
Europe,
Europe,
they're so much freer with sex.
no, honestly, like I have seen films in Europe, even from like that time, where I was like, oh my god, it's like they didn't have any code. Like you just do whatever the hell you want in a European film. It's like it always amazed me. But yeah, like there were certain things where I wondered, like why. Like I even read if a couple was on the same bed, the man or maybe the woman, one foot had to be on the ground,
I've heard
one
that
on the
before.
bed.
Yeah. I think I heard that in Dawson's Creek, actually.
Meanwhile, in
Seriously.
like Duck Soup, which is I think was 34, there's a gag in it that implies that Harpo had sex with a horse. Like,
Yeah.
like, and it's just like, damn, you go from that to you can't even show people in bed.
Well, that's why, like, if you look at A Streetcar Named Desire, like, when I watched it, I was like, wow, this is pretty daring, because it drove the censors crazy.
Yeah,
Because, like, you look at that film, what they were able to do, considering they were under the constraints of the code, like, the whole scene where he goes, Stella, like, or, what's her name, Stella or Estella?
Stella.
He goes, Stella! Like, he starts that famous scene where he's screaming for her, and you see her, she's standing at the top of the stairs. It's after he's, like, knocked her about a bit, and she's run away from him. And then she walks down and, like, he embraces her. And then she starts, like, running her hands over his back. And then it's hinted at they go inside and they have sex. But, like, when I was watching this, he was like, oh, my God. That really drove the censors crazy because he kept that scene in there, you know, and they basically didn't like it. Yeah. But what he was able to do, it was like the same thing when I was talking about Baby Doll. That was another scene because there's the scene when I can't remember his characters. Eli Wallach's character is talking to Baby Doll. And it was supposed to be summer, but they shot it, I think, in the fall or the winter, so they were freezing. So there's a scene where he's sitting next to her, like, on a swinging bench. And the censors were upset because you didn't see their hands. I'm sorry, I just hit the mic. I'm sorry. You couldn't see their hands.
Oh, I thought there was, like, another connotation with the swinging bench thing.
No. And one of the things was, like, where is his hand? What is his hand doing? And Eli Wallach says, like, our hands were over heat warmers because we were freezing. But the censors didn't like it because technically what could he be doing with his hands? So they wanted his hands to be where they could see them. But he was like, we were cold. But, yeah, that's another example of, like, what drove. And then I look at our films now, and I'm surprised we even have any ratings or whatever. It's like, I don't know how this works. You know, but, yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know. I don't think we're producing anything as sick and deranged as, like, Hitchcock stuff.
Yeah.
You watch that stuff, though it's technically by the code, it's like, oh, good Lord, you're a freak, dude.
Now I want an example.
I mean, Shadow of a Doubt has, like, this bizarre sort of, like, tension between a murderous uncle and his niece, and they have the same name, and it's just like, Hitch, you're working through some weird stuff here, man. This is
Murderous?
I mean,
upsetting.
you look at Norman Bates, I mean, it's kind of a weird...
Well, well, that's the point.
Rope, too.
Yeah.
Rope, more or less, argues it's okay to kill people.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what that was the film's thing? No.
I mean, they have Jimmy Stewart at the end be like, you perverted my philosophy. But, like, I think the movie wants you to think that Jimmy Stewart's an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Jimmy Stewart's also in a Thin Man movie.
Oh.
He is?
So what are the sequels? Just A Thin Man 2? A Thin Man 3?
No, they have silly names. They didn't really name
on.
sequels 2 and 3 back then.
Oh,
No.
It's After the Thin Man, Another Thin Man, Shadow the Thin Man, The Thin Man Goes Home, Song of the Thin Man.
Yeah.
And are they the only characters that stay in there, Nick and Nora?
I believe so, and the dog.
Yeah, and Asta.
Good old Skippy.
They're all that matter.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
cool, though.
2 of the sequels have the same actor playing the same detective because they're in California and San Francisco, so that makes sense. But other sequels change out actors.
One could say this was like an original Knives Out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
I've never seen the movie.
Oh, that's what we should talk about next.
That's a really fun
Yeah,
movie.
we should do both. They're both so much fun.
I like Glass Onion. It was not as good as Knives
It was
Out,
not.
though.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Janelle Monáe was awesome in it.
Great.
Yeah, I was.
Absolutely.
So it's like a similar premise.
Yeah,
It-
but like Daniel Craig is the only one that goes over to the
Yeah.
the next
Dark
one.
Side? Oh, okay. Oh,
No.
no.
to the
Well,
sequel.
like, I kind of liked in the first one that he wasn't really the main character.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they should keep with that more so, because I like him as just like an interloper.
Yeah.
So I just had and it just came to me. The actress who plays Dorothy's mom, Mina Gombo.
Mm-hmm.
Gombo. I was looking. What?
Gumball.
I doubt it, but I'll go with Gombo. I was looking at some of her facial expressions, and I'm sure she was doing films way before. Like, I don't know what her filmography was like, but it kind of reminded me of like when you see the silent movies, like the exaggerated facial expressions.
Too. Especially right at the beginning when she's like, like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty early sound.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, they were
so,
saying.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, though, that if we had some silent film actors coming into, like...
I mean, Powell and Loy were silent actors.
Yeah.
Also, did anybody else think that did anybody else was confused at the beginning a little bit because the Dorothy's mother and then Wynett's secretary look strikingly alike?
Sometimes it's hard in these old movies. Sometimes every woman has the same hairstyle.
Yeah.
Every man is in the same kind of suit. And you're just like, oh god.
I wasn't confused.
Yeah. They look. I mean, look at them again. They look exactly alike.
It was probably just you.
Probably.
No, I understand, Lou. I understand. I'm not judging you for it.
No, I can definitely understand because also they both have blonde hair. They have a similar like the wave. But I remember reading that some silent actors had trouble adjusting to sound. Like
And like early sound, like this, they kind of figured out systems for it, but like very early sound is awful.
That's what Babylon is all about.
Yeah,
And-
like you had to
the
stand
artist.
in like the most specific spot to even be picked up. They couldn't even move the cameras that much because they had to be in soundproof booths because the film reels made too much noise.
Oh,
It was
That's
ridiculous.
You can see that in Singing in the Rain, because it's within that era as well.
Oh.
It's depicted within that era, and the artist.
The first Marx Brothers movies, the Coconuts, it has like they're like barely on screen because they like to just move around in their acts. That was their but the cameras couldn't move, so they're like barely on screen. It's like really muffled sounding. You're like, what the hell are they even saying?
Yeah.
So at this point, there was a lot more freedom with it, but
No, I can definitely see that because there's very like dynamic movements.
You should watch Babylon just for that, because there are. I would say the movie wasn't great.
I think Babylon might be a little much for it.
The artist.
There's a lot of.
Get through the opening.
It earns the R rating.
Get through the first
And then
30
some.
minutes. But then there's cool stuff where it's like the onset stuff of the silent films, and then they do the onset stuff of when they first got sound in, and it's exactly how Joe described it. I thought they did a good job with that, and then the rest of the movie's kind of like except for the one Brad Pitt part that I really, really like, which I thought was just beautiful.
No, I don't know. Now I'm scared because Joe said I don't think, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
know who to trust.
That's
Maybe
why
we'll just show you those specific
Thank you. I
scenes.
appreciate that.
That's
Yeah.
why I suggest watching The Artist, because it does follow a silent film actor going into like the first few talkies.
Oh, okay.
And how he
Did you like The Artist?
can't adjust to it.
Oh, okay.
And how he struggles with it.
I don't begrudge them because I think they were just French people having fun.
Yeah.
But and I don't think they ever expected to become like a big awards contender. So,
Yeah.
and I think that made people more like, this kind of sucks at it. But like, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I don't know. I'm just not huge on The Artist.
You're entitled to your
Yeah.
opinion, Joe. It's
We
okay.
should do Sunset Boulevard. Oh,
don't
maybe
know.
that
I
should
am
change
ready for
that
my
choice.
close-up, Mr. DeVille.
That's a banger movie. Billy Wilder. And it's just like it's a noir about this guy who ends up living in the house of like a old silent actress, and she's just insane now. Like,
I like it.
just lives with monkeys and just stuff. It rules.
That's what we should do. Because now I thought about the Bette Midler film, which is awesome, where she plays an identical twin, and she murders. Not Bette Midler. Sorry, Betty Davis. I'm sorry, Betty Davis, not Bette Midler. Sorry.
Those are very different people.
I know. Will you?
Whatever happened to Baby Jane?
Probably. Where she has like an identical twin, she murders one and then assumes her identity.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Baby Jane is her and Jane Russell.
Oh.
It was her like big. Let me look it up.
But this one is really cool. So she has an
Lace and
identical twin
Arsenic is good,
sister that
too.
she kills and assumes her identity, and basically what happens from that moment on. And I was thinking maybe we should do another kind of series, like noir series.
Double Indemnity.
I love noir. I love The Big Sleep.
I love The Big Sleep.
That's so
because that could be
cool.
fun too. But yeah,
Would Lace and Arsenic be part of that? Because
That-
that's a fun
I
one.
love
That's
that
not
movie.
a noir though. That's a screwball comedy.
But it's a mystery.
It's not a mystery.
You know the answer, killing people. I
Yeah.
love them though. I love how they explain why they do what they do because they truly believe they're doing favors for people.
Yeah.
It's like he's depressed. He was divorced, and he was like, it's just
Whatever happened to Baby Jane is Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, and it's a psychotic movie.
Is that the one where one of them is like living upstairs and
Yeah,
paralyzed?
So Betty Davis used to be a child star. Now she's old and mean. Joan Crawford was her sister, who was like a successful
That is a
musician.
fantastic
and
movie.
then she's paralyzed, and Betty Davis just tortures her for 2 hours. It's deranged.
And
It is.
Those actresses hated each other. Anyway.
Oh yeah, it's
It's brilliant.
palpably evil.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
But my other favorite scene, just going back to the Thin Man, is the dining room scene where he picks apart, where Charles like essentially does the Perot thing before Perot even graced our TV screens.
I like when they're figuring out the place settings. Who's
Yeah.
gonna sit here? No, they can't sit there. And, like
Yeah.
she's like, I
Yeah.
love
He might
that.
bring somebody.
Yeah.
Leave
Yeah,
that seat open.
yeah. But I love what I love about Nora too is like how like she's thrilled to be a part of this, and she's like go because she just
Well,
wants to know who did it.
What I loved also is that Nora kind of like pushes Charles to like do this, like
Yeah.
solve this case when he really doesn't want to because he's retired.
He says he doesn't,
She
but
likes watching him work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah. But I think that also shows how supportive she is
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
she knows.
he's like, yeah, this is a
Although
fun bonding
honestly though, like
experience.
Yeah.
when I was thinking about it,
She's a pot stirrer. That's what she is. That's why
In a
maybe
good
that's why
way,
we
yeah.
liked her so much. 'Cause
probably
You're
yeah.
a pot stirrer too.
But I liked the scene when the coroner is using that old fashioned device where it's like scanning the body. You can see the skeleton.
The X-ray.
Is that what that is? That he's moving? Because they call it something else. They don't call it whatever it is. The
when
X-ray.
you see the shrapnel.
Yeah. And like, and Nick is just staring. That's very interesting. He's just basically listening to the coroner go off, and you see he had a limp and all this stuff. And then like when Nora asks, no, he says, I know where Wynant is. He's dead. I just saw his body. She was like, care to explain
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if anyone ever truly missed this guy except for Dorothy, because like the way Nick talks about it is like he's very just matter of fact. Like, yep, I know he's dead. I recognize the shrapnel. Yeah, he was like, I think the only one that really cared was Dorothy. Was the only one that cared about her dad.
Because she was his favorite.
True. Yeah, I think the son just needed to be loved. Did you love this part where after Dorothy says that she doesn't want to have
There's
kids?
no fixing the sun.
No.
No,
fixing
but
it.
I like when he's talking about because Dorothy doesn't want to have kids because she thinks one of them will be a killer. He goes, I read a study that shows 1 in 4. He says, so
Yeah.
if you only have like 2 or what does he say?
If you only had 3.
Yeah.
Oh, but I guess the first one could be the bad one.
There is a bizarre exchange at some point that did not make sense, where he told the drunks at the party, like, my father's a sexagenarian.
Yeah.
He admitted it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not something you admit. That's your age,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
I know, and why? That part kind of confused me too. Why the hell would he care if they had that in the newspaper?
Well, the drunks were just like, it's got sex in the name.
Yeah,
You can't
I
print
think that they didn't
thought
like-
it.
They
No,
didn't understand what it was.
I meant the son. Like why he thought that would be significant.
I think because the son is not as smart as he thinks he is, so he thinks that the sexagenarian has the word sex in it, so it must
Oh.
be something like that.
His name was Gilbert.
Gilbert.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
Gilbert.
Gilbert's really an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because honestly, like
That was my impression.
I didn't put it together that he was referring to the father's age. Like it took me a while to like, oh no, he's not referring to like. I thought he was trying to hint that his father was some kind of sexual deviant.
Well, he probably was.
Oh, and the other thing.
Oh, probably.
Because
Okay.
he divorced his mother and married his secretary,
That's
who's
what-
younger.
That's what sexual
than his
deviants did
mother.
back then.
I wouldn't quite call that deviant behavior.
Back then, maybe. Now, deviant behavior is totally different. Trust me. Just kidding. That sounded weird. Let's cut that out. Anyway, but the part about the dinner scene that I didn't get, or actually, maybe I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, what was the point? So they have those cops there for protection.
Right.
What was the point of dressing them up in, like, the waiters' costumes?
It was not. It was so
funny.
that no one would get suspicious.
They flashed their badges when they walked in.
No, the waiters.
The waiters.
He flashed his badge when the people walked
Wait,
in.
the waiters were cops. I thought they were like
No, they were
gangsters.
There was a mixture of cops and guys that Nick had put away.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they flashed the badges when the people walked in.
Then they weren't supposed to.
It was like
They didn't strike me as being that.
what
It's like this is like have a gin. Like no, it's just have a gin. It says I guess they want us to have a gin. They weren't that subtle. But it doesn't Nora say, "Oh, they're doing a fantastic job," and like
Yeah.
she like rolls her eyes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great moment. How he unravels everyone.
Yes. It's great.
I kind of would have liked. It would have been an interesting twist if the murderer would have been a woman. Instead of
Don't you worry. In the later movies, there is a femme
Spoiler
fatale.
alert.
okay,
I
great.
didn't tell you who it was. But in the other movies, there is a femme fatale.
Okay, yeah, because I kind of thought like if Dorothy would have been the one, because like she had the mental breakdown, and like, but that probably was too deep for the film. I don't think the film was going for that level of depth. But I just like thought like that would have been interesting.
But that wouldn't have made sense since she loved her father and.
But love
But maybe
can
she-
turn
maybe-
twisted.
Yeah, maybe she went crazy because her
That
father
doesn't-
was murdered and everything like that.
I don't know.
I
The
think-
money that was supposed to be for, by the way, $50,000 in the 30s
That's a
is
lot
a
of
ton of money.
Yeah.
Like, being an inventor, go whine it. You know what I mean?
Clyde.
Yeah,
That's
but
a
I'm
lot.
sure I'm sure he must have done other things too.
He was a scientist.
Yeah.
Inventor, scientist.
I loved going to my job at the science factory.
Yeah, it kind of gave me like Frankenstein-ish
Yeah.
vibes. Like I almost legit thought, ooh, this is gonna be that kind of movie.
Yeah, I was kind of. That's why the opening shot really threw me off. First of all, I was like, "Wow, this is beautiful," and then I was like, "Wait, what? Are they in a lab? What's happening?"
Yeah, like who is he bringing to life? Like I thought it was gonna go that way, but yeah, it was really great. The dinner scene is fantastic. The way like Nick unsettles everyone. It was like, how are the clams? How was the drink and everything?
It's like he trips them up as he's going through everything that he's like discovered in the case, and then he just throws something off like completely mundane, and it's like they want to start admitting something, but then it's like, oh, it's good. I wasn't there.
Yeah, I like the guy that pulled the gun out on him, and Nordy was like, "You're just trying to." No, that's not how his accent is. But
Yeah, what accent was that?
I'm sorry.
You're just trying to get me to. He wasn't Southern.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of me.
I do declare.
That's a Knives Out comparison
yeah.
right there.
Oh my god. You know what I meant.
Do we
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
Do we?
You can't take his side.
I'm not taking it.
You have to support me.
I always support you.
So we should do noirs, and then we should do neo noirs.
Yes.
What are neo noirs?
Anything made, like noirs made post 50s, they're usually much more focused with like playing around with the genre. Like there's one.
So would the French Connection be considered a neo-noir, or is that something completely different?
Kinda.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's one that I think is a good example called The Long Goodbye from early 70s. It's Elliot Gould playing Philip Marlowe, who's like the main character in The Big Sleep and stuff, but like Elliot Gould's playing him as sort of like a weird mumbly guy who just lives with his cat.
Oh.
Chinatown's a neo noir, right?
Yes.
That's.
Usual Suspects is a neo noir.
I love The Usual Suspects. That's a
Drive.
good one.
Drive.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Drive. Yeah. Because like what?
Chinatown's an intense movie.
Oh my god. Did I'm sure I've told you guys. Have I told you guys about the first time I saw Chinatown?
No.
It was in a film class in high school.
That's way too hard
Yeah.
for high school.
And it's the big scene where
I've never
he's-
seen the movie.
So Jack Nicholson's like slapping this woman around, and he's like,
Tell me the truth.
Yeah, and she's like, what is she saying? Like, I'm his
She's
mother.
She's my sister.
She's
and
my daughter.
She's my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's both. Every 16, 17-year-old kid in the class goes, what? At the same time. It was really hilarious. I liked that movie.
That movie's like
is that like
near perfect.
Yeah.
Was that like it shattered the mystery of some kind? Like that reveal?
That's
Was that
the
like
big reveal.
I don't know the film.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
More or less, her father's a monster. Like that's the
Okay.
drop.
Thank you for the spoiler.
Yeah.
But that's a great movie. We should watch Chinatown.
It's a case of essentially her father had molested her and she had a child, and the child is her daughter and her sister.
And he more or less owns Los Angeles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Evil movie.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched like The Big Sleep, then Double Indemnity, then Chinatown, then Usual Suspects as part of our noir studies.
Oh, you know what's a banger noir? Lady from Shanghai.
Yes.
That movie makes no sense, and I love every second of it.
Did your teacher give you permission slips to watch Chinatown?
No, we were 17. We're seniors. You know, she knows we've seen worse.
Yeah.
She showed us a scene from Old School, but then forgot to fast forward to the scene so you see the Jello wrestling
I never saw Old
scene.
School.
Yeah, there's a Jello wrestling scene where two girls are shirtless, and she was like, "Oh."
But you had seen worse than that.
Of course,
Yeah.
You know, by the time you're senior in high school.
When I was, I think, either a sophomore or a junior, my English teacher showed us the Polanski Macbeth film.
Oh yeah.
That traumatized
Movie's
me.
hardcore.
Wow.
That legit traumatized me. It's like, oh my.
As you saw that as a sophomore in high school.
Sophomore or junior, yeah.
I saw that junior in high school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sophomore year in English, we watched The Pianist.
And
I hate that Polanski has to make good movies.
Yeah.
I despise that.
Yeah.
and she put up like one scene. She put a little colored triangle piece of paper to block out the little boy because he's taking a bath. She was like, "Ooh!" I was like,
That's a little boy.
That's the least that you have to worry about.
like I
in
said,
that movie.
what I just saw in this film, I was like blocking. Like that's the least of the concerns.
Yeah.
Man, the three witches are fully naked in the opening. Well, no, yeah, they are.
I've never seen the movie.
Good.
Honestly, just the fight at the end is the most brutal thing imaginable.
Yeah.
You really feel like, oh god, they were just wearing heavy armor, just beating the hell out of each other with
Yeah,
logs.
Lady Macbeth, her whole monologue scene is done nude. He had a thing with nudity. Like, she's just full on nude, and during her whole monologue scene,
Makes sense, right?
I guess. But yeah, you're not missing
There's
much.
plenty of directors who use a lot of nudity who are not criminals.
True. Yeah. Fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So yeah, great film, great recommendation. I really enjoyed it.
Would you guys watch the other movies?
Yeah.
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 Cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely and our listeners, if you have like recommendations, because I definitely look for more like classic Hollywood movie recommendations. I know Rebecca's the one who told me about Arsenic and Lace,
Yeah.
which is why I watched it. That is truly funny. That's something we should watch and discuss because that one is so funny. I was laughing constantly throughout the entire film.
The first time I saw that movie, I didn't realize that it was Cary Grant until I actually really looked at him because my only reference to his roles are dramatic roles. And to see him in a comedic role was weird.
Oh, I think he's way better as a comedian than dramatic. He's great dramatic, but dude is supernaturally funny.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's just,
And I mean, I only saw the movie once, and I really wish that I had a way of seeing it again.
I think that would be something nice. Like maybe if we did like a classic comedy or like dark. I think we call like a dark comedy, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, if Joe says yes.
I mean, I think the technical genre for that's screwball, but yeah.
Yeah.
Dark sound. Oh, well, but Joe says so. So, yeah, I think that would be a nice series to do as well.
Honestly, even just comedy movies. We don't really talk about comedies a lot.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, because like I said, a lot of the comedies. Like I remember one time, I watched like the Harold and Kumar like go to White Castle. And
Harold
Classic.
Kumar rules.
I know, but I was watching and I was like, I mean, there were funny moments, but it's like at certain points you just bordered on being stupid. It wasn't funny anymore.
In a class about race in film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because legitimately, it's pretty great depictions of Asian Americans in a way that they never were. Just like, here's just a goofy comedy.
But did you
with
remember
two
the
Asian
scene where it's
leads.
like Harold and Kumar? He goes, what kind of name is Kumar? Because he could have been more American. Or I like the scene when like they have the Korean American guy like translating for Harold, and Harold's like, I'm speaking in English. He goes, he's a North Korean spy or something like that. I was cracking up. He's like, I'm talking in English. That was fun. Yeah, there are some funny moments, but
that
yeah.
movie just always makes me want White Castle, and then
I've never had White Castle.
Oh, you're not missing anything.
No, you're missing everything. White Castle rules.
I mean, it like I said, there's a time and a place for it for sure, but I would say of the fast foods, it is the one that if I never had it again, I'd be okay.
It will kill you the quickest, but you'll be living deliciously. You know?
Sign me up for Taco Bell first, any day.
Never had Taco Bell either.
Cheesy gordita crunches.
I've never had.
You know, that's what we should do.
Nuts.
We'll get a bunch of fast food. Just have Simona try a bite of each thing.
Yeah, it will become a Dry Guys channel. You know?
I don't like Taco Bell.
I love
If
Taco
you
Bell.
do that, I would that could
I
be
would prefer
fun.
McDonald's
You just
over
like
Taco Bell.
different ones, just put them in front of me.
Go to
Ever had
order.
KFC?
Oh,
That's another
boy,
one for the
yeah.
list.
KFC
Maybe
is
I
good.
don't. No, I did, but that was the last time I had it was in 6th grade. That's the first
All right,
only
well,
time I had
that
KFC.
doesn't count.
Yeah.
It doesn't
What
count.
about the 3
They've
bit?
invented new things.
Oh
since then.
yeah, new chickens with extra meat and extra crispiness. What about the 3 big ones? McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's.
Okay, people, you act like I've had fast food. You know it. I haven't had Wendy's.
You've never had Wendy's?
No.
Wendy's burgers are the best.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think of those 3, they have the best burgers.
Katie,
but
help me.
McDonald's got those nuggets, and
Nuggets
they
can't beat the
those.
nuggets, and McDonald's has the fries.
I was gonna say the fries.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Burger King, their only skin in the game is the chicken fries.
Yeah.
Those chicken fries are
Those chicken
good.
fries are delicious.
I
Everything
wasn't
else, I don't
growing
care.
up. I
They have
wasn't
chicken
real-
fries?
Yeah.
Well, the last time I was at Burger King, I think was middle or high school.
You want to know the level of deranged White Castles at Simona? You know what they have? They don't have chicken nuggets. They have chicken rings.
It's true.
Doesn't make any sense. Nothing in a chicken's in the shape of a ring. But sure, why not?
Oh my god.
I grew
Any
up.
place that you can go to, and there is a box of 100 burgers on the menu, avoid.
Yeah, you can get a big suitcase of hamburgers there. Like,
Really?
it's insane.
They're sliders though. They're not regular sized burgers.
Oh god, thank you. I needed this. But if you ever wanted to do that, just like put it in front of me. Oh my god,
My
yeah.
favorite thing at KFC is the chicken bowls.
Yeah, those are great.
What are chicken balls?
So you can put like a layer of mashed potatoes, a layer of popcorn chicken, and then a layer of like corn, and then gravy, and you can mix it all together and eat it, and it's delicious.
That does sound delicious.
No, I love the mashed potatoes at KFC.
They're so good.
They're
The
not
biscuits?
real.
Yeah.
They're just a smooth paste,
Yeah,
but they're
with
so
lots
delicious.
of salt. It's so good. Also, it had been a long time since I've been to KFC, but I went relatively recently, probably within the last couple months. And the potato wedges are gone.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Those were good.
That was like the one thing I loved.
Unless
One of
they-
the things I love.
Oh, I think they do normal fries now, and they're
Yeah.
not that good.
Yeah.
Did you complain? Did you riot? Did you stage a protest?
No, not yet.
That's
but I will.
why. That's why they haven't. Oh, get KFC to sponsor us.
Yeah, we'll just have a bucket on the table every episode and get real messy eating.
Well, now that you said that they've like advanced and expanded their like food menu, now I'm curious. Yeah, it was in 6th grade. It was like the end of the year party, and I think we had like maybe 2 buckets.
Like, you ever had the popcorn chicken?
Oh
No.
god, the popcorn chicken's so
Just sit there
good.
and-
Yo, they do pot pies now? What?
Oh.
KFC
Caffeinated Librarians on the road.
sponsor us. All right, so who wants to close us out? Unless we have more to say.
Thin Man. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh
Check
my
it out.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it is delightful.
Yeah. It was so much fun that we had fun just now. Like it invokes fun. Other than, for the people that died in the movie. They didn't have fun.
It's fine.
Yeah, but,
No one's missing.
but the rest of us had fun.
All right, so thank you everyone for joining us for this discussion. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.